Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal number HPDL258. This is a hotel privacy door latch, and the unit that I have here is shown in the polished chrome finish. It's available in lots of colors or finishes. This is the polished chrome from Cal Royal. Nice packaging in the sense that the plastic is thick, which is important. It's reasonably thick, which is important because you want to be sure that other parts, like screws, are properly isolated from the finish. This looks like a nice piece of hardware. Over the last several years, a hotel privacy function, or a door guard, not a privacy function, a door guard, where back in the old days they were chains. Then they went to the fold-over bars. And now we've got something a bit more modern looking. These are nice and they are an improvement because from the hotel perspective, and certainly from the fire marshal perspective, the door cannot be propped open by using the hardware, whether you take that door guard, flip it down, and then the door hits it because you've gone out to get ice. Or you've literally taken the chain, the door is closed, and you've lifted the chain up and let the door rest against the chain, damaging the door and ultimately compromising the integrity of the structure of a wood door. The veneer, the stiles, those are banded, the core, all of that has to be intact in order to have a fire-rated door. And these methods of propping the door open do nothing other than violate the fire rating of the door, the integrity of the fire rating, and they kind of damage the door. This piece of hardware will allow you to not have that sort of trouble when it comes to your privacy latch. I keep saying privacy. It's not a privacy latch. This is a door guard. This doesn't however the term privacy is used, regardless, I would call it a door guard. So the way that this works is very simple, and this item has some nice features that are not found on all different models. In particular, it has these inserted mutes that are here and on the opposite side, so as to deaden the sound of the operation. And I'm holding this up to my microphone. Nice and quiet. You don't hear it. You don't hear a chain rattling. Very nice quality item. So, first of all, the HPDL258 is going to be available from Cal Royal in oil rubbed bronze, polished chrome, satin chrome, polished brass, satin brass. The base material is likely zinc, which means that it's non-ferrous. It is dense and heavy, gives you certainly the illusion of a quality product. Because of the nature of zinc, it allows a metallurgical process that permits a nice finish, a very good finish, given the fact that zinc is a very inexpensive material. And I'm not an expert with it, but that much I know. So you've got 5 finishes, and how does this work? So the bottom line is, you're going to install this onto the jamb. Your door is here. Forgive me, your door is here. Not here, it's here. My fist is the door. The door swings in like this. Okay, when I throw this, I can only get so far. The door ends up occupying this space, which is about 2 inch, maybe a little bit greater. It might be 2 5/8. Maybe that's where the 258 comes in from the manufacturer's part number. It doesn't. It's about 2 inch. So your door will occupy the space inside of here, leaving a small margin that you can see right through where that door, in the door rabbet, the inside opening of the jamb. Okay. That's how these work. When you occupy the space, you can throw that. There is a release tool that is commercially available for management in order to basically unlock one when there's a need to get in when it's been triggered. Now, there are installation instructions below this video, which are folded up here, and let's take a look at those. Let's take a look at those. And what grabbed my attention was the fasteners that we're going to go over in a moment. Another feature that sets the Cal Royal model apart from others are also in this fastener bag. Okay, installation instructions. You see what the hardware is supposed to look like when the door is in the closed and unprotected position. Okay, you can see that you have a 1/16 of an inch margin between the edge of the frame and where they want you to locate the face of the unit. Okay, you're going to want to install this in handicap position that would really not exceed, would not exceed 48 inches from the floor. Anywhere up to that dimension, I think, is going to put you reasonably compliant with handicap requirements. However, to say this item does not, from the manufacturer, carry a published handicap compliant rating with it. Forgive me, it certainly does. It is clearly indicated as ADA compliant. There would be no twisting or anything special of the wrist to operate this. So that would certainly be the first thing to look for handicap compliance. So it is listed as handicap compliant. Now the installation instructions tell us to get that 1/16 of an inch over from the edge of the frame. So back to my earlier example of this situation, the edge of the frame is here. You're going to scooch that in 1/16 of an inch. You're going to want to make sure that there's an 1/8 of an inch margin between the frame and the edge of the door, an 1/8 inch gap between the door and the frame, so that when the door opens out, there's clearance there. If it's too tight, you may run the risk of it hitting the stop itself. If that's the case, you might want to reality check, test that, maybe hold that, and then have someone else operate the door to make sure that you've got the proper clearance. And if the door needs to be pre-fit ever so slightly, which is probably not realistically going to happen after it's installed, you might want to just move this over ever so slightly to account for that required margin. Then in the open position, you'll see what the unit is to look like when it's been operated, or you've got it in the open position and your door hits the back side of the door guard portion. Okay. Scrolling down a bit on page 1, you will see the 1/16 of an inch margin illustrated clearly as to what they're discussing in a top view. And again, it says door and frame must have an 1/8 of an inch maximum gap. I'm sure they mean minimum gap, but it would also be accurate to say maximum, because assuming this door is fire rated, it would not be permissible for it to be smaller than that. Maximum's accurate, but they probably mean minimum. Mark the mounting height on the inside of door 1 foot above the lever, or as desired. Not necessarily. If you're handicap compliant, you have to be handicap compliant. Leave a 1/16 of an inch from the edge of the door to the edge of the latch. Mark the 3 screw holes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Center punch and drill 3 5/32 of an inch holes. Be careful when you're center punching if you're hitting a hollow frame. You will absolutely want to center punch. And what I mean by that center punching is, I can imagine a knockdown hollow metal frame and you're banging on it to center punch it. Those frames are sometimes in three-piece knockdowns. I would be very careful to disturb the wall with this. You could have a thin gauge, ready, timely frame sort of product. You might crush a lot more by center punching it. I would use a center punch tool is what I would use, where they're spring loaded. You depress that and then you can leave a mark with your center punch. I also use a 1/16 of an inch drill bit in these cases because I can really control exactly where I start that hole, and I use that little tiny 1/16 of an inch bit and use one with a 135 degree point, not a 118 degree point. Anyway, get your pilot holes accurately located. Okay. Install the 3 sheet metal screws to secure the device. Frame reinforcement is recommended. Machine screws. Drill and tap, that's what that means. I'm going to go with these being 1/4 20. To test, open the door and put the swing arm of the latch into the open position. Then close the door. The door should close freely, pushing the swing arm into the closed position. What that means is open the door, throw this out, make sure the door closes that, hits that and closes. You can't add hardware onto the door that is violating the cardinal rule of fire-rated doors, self-closing. Okay. Moving to page 2. They give you all the dimensions of the screw hole locations, but they also talk about these riv nuts that are here. Should you have an insufficient amount of material to get your hardware installed down to, mark the mounting height. We're on page 2. Mark the mounting height from the inside of the door on the frame, wherever you're going to locate it, 1/16 of an inch. Drill and punch 3 11/32 pilot holes. Install the 3 riv nuts. Use a riv nut tool to securely fasten the 3 rivets in place. When you look at the cutaway view of the riv nut, you'll notice that there is a little lip that's here that's not present on this riv nut. What happens is when you use a riv nut tool, you basically crimp this like you would in a pop rivet. A riv nut tool acts like a pop rivet tool to get that to fold back so that you pinch over the wall thickness of the frame, allowing you then to run your bolt into the opening or into the riv nut. So you would need a riv nut tool to make it work, but if you're in construction, you very likely have a riv nut tool. Also, of course, then, if your frame's been installed correctly and you've got wood studs behind, you've got number 10 by 2 inch, I would guess, flathead sheet metal screws. Okay, so you're good. And that's the other hallmark of Cal Royal. They give you these anchoring possibilities that no other manufacturer gives you. They give you the sound deadening pads in both instances, where some others give you none, or in only one, like back here. And then they give you all these fasteners. And they do it economically. I would argue that the quality of their product, along with the upgraded options, and the fact that it's on par with every other importer of this item, I would really strongly look at the Cal Royal as the option to go with, because it's clearly superior in the sense that you've got those upgrades that we've talked about. Now, the extended description down below, it is NFPA 80 compliant, it is ADA compliant. Everything else that is in the extended description, there's no need for me to speak about that again. We've covered it. There's a link to the product catalog, which is going to be a section of the manufacturer's catalog that will talk about trim and auxiliary hardware, of which a piece of hardware like this is certainly a part of that category. There will be associated products to such an item, such as door viewers. You're certainly going to see door viewers installed in a hotel sort of door as well. But that's all you're going to see, that door guard and then the door viewers. There is also a link to the cut sheet, which is a summarization of what we've talked about. It gives you a single page that tells you everything you need to know about it. Very nice, concise, consolidated. I realize that I've not given you the dimensional properties, and I'm going to archive this video, or those dimensions in this video, just really quickly. 2 5/8 overall height. That's where the 258 comes in. 1.5 inches width of the base plate. Looks like it's a bit closer. Yeah, about 1.5 inches. Okay. Then you have a 2 1/8 inch total projection. There we go. And the other dimension they give you is the overall when opened, and we can kind of gauge that. They say it's at 2 3/4, and I'd say I'm holding that straight to the camera. It does appear to be 2 3/4. Okay. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm quite partial to Cal Royal, and it's because I've been doing business with them for a very long time. Over 20 years for sure. I continue to do business with them because they continue to earn it. Prompt, reliable, predictable shipping lead times. Stock is generally very deep. The people there are no nonsense and straight to the point, and I appreciate that. They do occasionally produce for us the proverbial miracle by getting something taken care of for us, and we always appreciate that. And as a result of all of that, based on the fact that their product line continues to grow with high-quality imported builders products, if you're not familiar with Cal Royal, I would suggest that you review their catalog because they have hardware that touches every aspect of what's done, whether it be lock sets or closers or hinges or exit devices or trim and auxiliary hardware, and some items that are unique all onto their own in such a way that they've taken an approach to something by making it better. And the HPDL258, in my opinion, is an example of that. Any questions on this door guard from Cal Royal or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.